Today I'm going to show you how to fix your pop-up headlights on your C4 Corvette. First thing you need to do is to find out what exactly is wrong so that you can buy the right parts. If your light won't move at all, the gear is most likely stripped. If the light moves but it makes this sound, the torque pins are likely disintegrated. What I did was I took the motor off of that one, took it apart, and just zip tied it open so that I could still drive the car at night. And I took it apart so I could figure out which parts I actually needed, so I wouldn't have to spend a ton of money on gears if I didn't need gears. I'm going to show you with this light how to remove everything and take it apart and rebuild it. Once you know what you need, I'd recommend going to Car Guy 8T8 on eBay to buy your kit. He's very knowledgeable and he stocks the best parts. He's repaired hundreds of Corvette headlights and knows which parts work best. So that's Car Guy 8T8 on eBay. So to remove the headlight, it's just plug, pull it up, and lift this tab and pull it apart. And then there's just 4 bolts to get the headlight assembly off of the car, right there. They're 10mm bolts, and those 2. So once those bolts are off and the plug is detached, just lift it out like this. So to remove this motor from the headlight bezel, you need to take that bolt out, that bolt, and that bolt. But to get to that bolt, you have to remove, or at least loosen that. Get an extension, go down from in here, and that one. It's all T30 Torx. And then you can get this motor. Then you can get to that bolt to get the motor off. Because there's just not quite enough room right there, which is ridiculous. You have to spin this so that you have room to get in there. Of course, when the headlight falls back down because the torque pins are non-existent, that doesn't help. So spin it up, put your foot under the bezel to hold it up. Okay, I'm not going to take that screw out all the way. That'll be hard to get back in. Loosen this one. Now this moves just enough so you can get a tool there. Once you have these 3 bolts off, your motor will come off. Actually, shit. You have to tap out this pin with a screw and a hammer. Just take a screw, put it in there, tap it until the pin comes out. So once you're ready, you can take off your 3 bolts. They're 1/4 inch. And then you can remove the cover. Side one, you have to take apart this motor. You take your 1/4 inch, undo this bolt and the second bolt. Then you pull the cover off. On both my motors, these bolts are seized, so they're just breaking off. So what I have to do is put this on my drill press and drill a new hole, put new bolts in. I don't know if that's going to happen to you, but be prepared for it if it does. Oh, this one's good. So once you have those off, you can pull this up and out. When you separate the motor, there's going to be 2 springs and a little ball bearing that you can't lose. The ball bearing goes in the tip of the worm gear, and the springs are for the brushes. So be careful with those and put them in a piece of tape so you don't lose them. And now once you have this free, you can push this out and as you can see, the torque pins are completely disintegrated. So all you do is take these torque pins, the new ones, or your new gear if you decided to buy a new gear. Car Guy 88 has metal gear replacements as well as plastic. And of course, if this is taking you too long, you can take this wire off. There's a metal clip here. Just pop the clip off, unwrap whatever they have holding it on, take this black plastic piece off of the plug, and find the two wires, the green and white, that go to the motor on the end here. And in there, you can simply take a flathead screwdriver, small one, press down on a little tab, and remove the wire. So that you can still have headlight function and drive around. There you go. So that disconnects the motor. All you gotta do is plug this back in, zip tie the headlight open, and you can still have a headlight while you're dealing with these motors. And to zip tie the headlight open, all you do is find this stopper here and zip tie it around this frame, and the headlight will remain open without the motor on it. So what I actually ended up doing with the those broken screws, instead of using the drill press, I used a Dremel and just cut out the whole thing. So I can put a machine screw in there. There's actually just enough thread left on this one that I can thread this in, but I'm going to use a nut on the other end anyway, because the drill presses can't handle the drilling through like a screw. Alright, so here's the reassembly. One nice thing is that the grease actually holds the little pieces on. So it's easy to put together. Okay. The way to do this, take this out of here. Alright. Now when you put this back on, there is a washer and a little bearing. Just want to put the bearing on there first, and then hold this in from the gear. Just hold it like that, and quickly put this on. And there you go. Decent amount of grease on the gear. So putting the motor back onto the headlight bezel, re-loosen these two screws so that this is loose. Alright, when you're putting this back on, make sure the headlight is in the closed position, because obviously when you put it back on the car, the headlight switches off. And so you just put it on here, and put this thing on, like this. You can see a mark on it where it rubs against this little bit that sticks off here. I have to spin the motor by hand to get the shaft to line up with this block thing here. Alright, so instead of pressing that big ass pin back in, which is a retarded design, just use a big cotter pin and put it in there, bend it up. Okay. Then you can tighten your other bolts. Put your plug back together, and put the light back on the car and test it. Actually, first test the whole thing by hand. See what happens. If it stops, of course, don't force it, otherwise you're gonna wreck your gear.